kena buat meeting ni besok. Tapi nak kabulkan ni lah dalam meeting besok biar cikgu-cikgu ni faham kot sikit yang diorang ni teruk. Kan dia nak buat Harap-harap berhasil lah esok.
Okay, I need to blast WhatsApp right now. Assalamualaikum and hi. So the motive of today's meeting is because of your performance. So bad in this month. I have thought of many ways to improve your improvement. I will give you all the best one. I already arranged a live session with some expert person who can change all of you. Okay guys? Okay guys, are you ready? I hope my best decision can change all of you after this.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning everyone. I am Teacher Fatiha. Today, Facebook Live, I want to share with you about the workplace learning. Before I start, I want to know, what do you think about the workplace learning? Now, let me start. Before considering teacher in the workplace learning, it's important to us by considering school as workplace, teacher as workers, and teaching as work. So, what is workplace? According to Avis 2010, workplace is an important place for learning and development, and in which knowledge can be created. Meanwhile, learning is meant as the rule in which any type of knowledge is attained by three different researchers. Next. So now, what is workplace learning? Workplace learning is learning through what we do at the workplace. You can think of as being driven by the enterprise and the stuff we do every day. We learn truth and get it as a result of that. However, we have student context definition of the workplace learning. According to Cambridge Business Dictionary, workplace learning is a period of time during which a student works for an organization in order to gain knowledge and experience. For context of education, we can see through a practicum. For example, next semester, you will practicum at school for about 3 months, right? During practicum, you as teacher practical need to follow all the rules by school and do what the real teachers did, such as give the homework, marking the homework, follow the curriculum activity, the sport day, and others. Also, you need to face the various attitude and behavior of students in the classroom. So that are the example of a workplace learning. It is informal, but actually it's the thing that require for you to fulfill the task of becoming a real teacher later. Everyone, now we look at the model for learning and development, L&D. Many people use this model for their reference in the workplace learning. It's totally likely according to the 70, 20, and 10 model for learning and development. This framework or training strategy say that in a workplace which is The 70, 20 and 10 model for learning and development was developed from research at the Center for Creative Leadership (CCL) in North Carolina. Today, it's an L&D strategy to improve workplace performance. So, how exactly does this framework act as a strategy? Here's what you can do at your organization to implement the 70, 20 and 10 model. This model suggests how people mainly learn effectively at the workplace. The first one is 70% of learning is experiential. It happens through daily tasks, challenges, and practice. It covers project assignment, action learning, and problem solving. For example, we get new assignment and challenging job, of which we do not exactly know to do them. By doing them, and anyway, we learn sometimes by trial and error. Next, we have 20% of learning is social. It happens with and through other people like co-workers. For example, coaching, monitoring, and feedbacks. Lastly, we have 10% of learning is formal. It happens through structured training, courses, and programs such as workshop, webinar, and e-learning platform. The training has been provided by the company itself. Next. Now we have issues and challenges to workplace learning for teachers. It is undeniable that workplace learning really is important. Nevertheless, there are still issues and challenges that may hinder an effective execution of workplace learning. The first issue is the lack of engagement. According to Sharadi, in a pool of 6,500 employees across the group, 59 of the respondents stated that their workplace learning experience could not be considered as exciting or engaging. Tricia Hadley, Chief Education of the Campaign for Learning, stated that companies have sent employees on course because they had purchased so many places on a course regardless of whether that course is truly relevant for individual or the job or not. So, the employees can come out not having learned much at all. So, as education students, we have seen numerous discussions of how learning could be catered to student individual differences, such as their learning style or their proficiency level. This should be applicable to 3 employees, or I might say, adult learners as well. Lastly, some other form of barrier for workplace learning is informal learning at school. It may lack of trust in the organization they work with, and also lack of respect from new employee toward an experienced employee. In education, teachers may behave like this if they do not like one particular teacher who had extra skills and ability in the teaching. So friends, we as teachers, we need to act like a professional teacher. Please do not mix your personal issue with work at school. In the old days, we could say, let's go to school, get qualified for a job, enter the labor market, and that's the job of learning done. We need people to learn how to learn, because learning is going to be a feature of the transition they are going to go through throughout their life. That's all from me. Now I will pass to next presenter.
Okay, my name is Zofahmi, and I will talk about 2 approaches that we can use in workplace learning, which is situated learning and also cognitive learning approach. Situated learning is an instructional approach developed by Jean Leaf and also Etienne Wenger in early 90s and supported by John Dewey, Vygotsky and others, where they claim that students or pupils are more inclined to learn by actively participating in the learning experience. Situated learning is an approach that is receiving attention in the field of workplace learning and also including study place learning for students. In the situated learning approach, knowledge and skill are taught in contexts that reflect how the knowledge will be used in real life situation or more easily known as authentic learning experience. Okay, I will explain about authentic in a while, okay? This strategy is based on the premise that knowledge is not independent but fundamentally situated, being in part a product of the activity, context and also culture in which it is developed. There are three main elements in this strategy, which is authentic, legitimate peripheral participant and also community of practice. Okay, first of all, authentic. Wait, what is authentic means? Okay, let me explain. Authentic here means the learner are being given real life example and experience. This include authentic context and activity, where the context and activity are related on what you learn at that time or what you want to master at that time. Second, legitimate peripheral participant. They explain on the concept of learner going from novice to expert through engagement, interaction and also collaboration among colleagues or group mates. Therefore, students or people are going get better from time to time, in which they will make them expert to some point. For an example, students or newcomers coming into the new place and they need to learn from the small tasks and also eventually will get to major tasks that needed good amount of knowledge to finish it. Okay? Third, community of practice. Community of practice here means there is a group of people who share a concern or a passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. This is because when they have the same passion and concern about something, it will make sure that both parties will have positive feedback since they are sharing what they know towards each other. Okay? As we know, knowledge is better if there will be co-construct among community, where community is, I just stated before. Okay, like quotes from Margaret Fuller, if you have knowledge, let's idolize their candle in it. And also from Zulfahmi Zulkifli 2021, knowledge is the power of love of everybody, so share it. So basically, share among people that have same concern and passion is a great source. Okay, let's continue on its advantage. So basically, the advantage of this approach is that first, it can focus on social learning, where it provides opportunities for communication and also socialization within the group, where it also helps prepare students for the 21st century, in which 21st century need and require students strong in collaboration and also communication. Okay, third, of course, like I said before, situated learning provides learner with real life situation where what they learn are relevant with real life. Last but not least, it requires learners to be active. For an example, individuals learn through active approach such as project-based learning that allow them to gain knowledge by trial and error, with facing many barriers and new knowledge. However, with using the situated learning approach, teacher's role can change from expert to simply facilitating, and with this, it can release the students making incorrect conclusion. Okay, next, cognitive learning. Cognitive learning is a type of learning that is active, constructive, and long-lasting. It engages students and learners in the learning process, teaching them to use their brains more effectively to make connection when learning new things, where Jane Piaget is the one who came out with this idea. This kind of approach is a suitable option to the typical classroom setting. Cognitive learning builds on prior information rather than depending on memory. Okay? Students learn to establish connections and reflect on material skills in order to improve their learning abilities. Cognitive learning has three main characteristics, which is first, comprehension, where required learners to understand how topic fits into larger picture. building cognitive learning skills to teach them how to learn more effectively. Students learn to do more than repeat what they have learned. They understand the why behind a topic and how it fits into larger picture. Second, memory, where learners needs to build on past knowledge to improve recall. Cognitive learning, as opposed to memorizing, allows pupils or learners to obtain a better knowledge of a subject. In the long term, this enhances recollections, allowing learners to build on previous information. Third, application, where learners need to reflect on topics and creating new connections. Learners can use the cognitive learning techniques to reflect on what they have learned and how it's related on other subjects. This helps learners in developing the problem-solving abilities that they require in order to make new connections between what they have learned. Okay, let's continue on its advantage. Actually, there were a lot of advantage, but today I will share you two of it. Okay, number one, it can instill a love of learning, like wise person have been said. If you love learning, it will benefit you. But if you love people, they might... Okay, alright, this can be done actually by giving students the chance to actively engage in learning and make it fun and exciting. This helps students develop lifelong love for learning outside of the classroom and also workplace. Second, it can promote long-term learning in which developing cognitive skills allows students to build upon previous knowledge and ideas. This teaches students to make connections and apply to what they already know. So in everything they do, they will recall prior information that they have and link it again. This process will happen again and again and again. Alright, I believe that's all from me. I will pass this presentation to my friend, which is next presenter. Thank you, bye.
Hello everyone. When we are talking about workplace learning, there are many aspects that we can discuss about it. As an example, a reflective practitioner. So, today I would like to discuss on being a reflective practitioner. So, first thing first, you need to know what is the meaning of reflection in the context of education. Let's see this slide. Based on Norton 1994, reflection is a discipline inquiry into the motive, methods, material, and consequences of educational practice. It enables practitioners to thoughtfully examine conditions and attitudes which impede or enhance student achievement. Therefore, in the professional context of training, teaching, or school leadership, reflection refers to acts of thinking constructively about your own profession practice with a view to improving it wherever possible. As a teacher, you have to be alert because it is easy to fall into the trap of employing the same technique and approach repeatedly. On the idea of reflection leading to professional development, Clark suggests that learning to be good teachers results from the conscious reflection of event, training, experience, reading, and other contextual contribution. Therefore, reflection has always been seen as an important part of effective teaching and considered to be a valuable tool for development of effective teachers. For this reason, many teachers' educational programs worldwide are trying to improve their student capabilities to reflect as this one of the hallmark of an effective educator. Now we continue with this slide. What is reflective practice? Reflective practice is the ability to reflect on one action so as to engage in a process of continuous learning. According to one definition, it involves paying critical attention to the practical value and theories which inform everyday action by examining practice reflectively and reflexively. Reflective practice also can be an important tool in practice-based professional learning setting, where people learn from their own professional experience rather than formal learning or knowledge transfer. It may be the most important source of personal professional development and improvement. It is also an important way to bring together theory and practice. Through reflection, a person is able to see and label form of thought and theory within the context of his or her works. There are many models of reflection practice. However, they all share the same basic aim, which is to get the best result from learning for both teacher and student. For today, I would like to share only 3 models. First, Sean reflective model. Second, Cobb experiential learning cycle, and third is Gibson reflective learning cycle. Now, we look at the first model, which is the Sean reflective model. This model divided 2 parts. First is reflection in action. So when you find the words in, means that the reflection happened during the lesson. It is the process of making judgment and changes of your action based on your past experience and the new information. For example, when you teach a certain topic and you can see that the student cannot understand, so the reflection in action help you to understand on why this happened and how to respond in order to overcome this situation immediately. The next one is the reflection on action. So when it say on, it means that this reflection takes place after you have been teaching. Similarly, like before, you will use the knowledge gained to make the changes. The difference is reflection in action happen during the lesson, but reflection on action happen after the lesson. We move to the second model of reflection practice. One way of looking at the process of reflection, reviewing, and improvement was described in a model by David Cobb and his colleague Ron Fry, called the experiential learning model (ELM). This is often referred to as a Cobb learning cycle. The basic for this model is our own experience, and once this process has been undone completely, the new experience will form starting point for another cycle. There are 4 stages. Firstly, it's concrete experience, which is engaging in activity or experience. In the other word, we try it out and see what happened. Second is reflective observation. We reflect all the experience and we analyze it from the multiple perspective. Third is abstract conceptualism. We gain knowledge from the experience and then we connect the ideas which are linked to existing knowledge and understanding. Lastly is active experimentation. This stage we formulate a hypothesis, plan action, and we test the new skill and abilities. The third model of reflection practice is Gibbs reflective cycle. Gibbs' model was developed from an early theoretical model. David Cobb had 4-stage experiential learning cycle, whereas Cobb model is sometimes referred to as an experiential learning model, which is simply mean learning through experience. Gibbs' model is sometimes referred to as an iterative model, which simply mean learning through repetition. So Gibbs model based on 6-stage approach, leading with a description of experience through to conclusion and consideration for future event. First section is description. We need to clearly outline the experience. This need to be factual account of what happened during the lesson. The second section is feeling. In this section, encourage practitioners to explore any thought or feeling that they had during the event. Third section is evaluation. In this section, the practitioners are given opportunity to discuss on what, where, when, and what is the type and did not work as initial plan. The next section is analysis. In this section is where practitioners make sense of experience, so they consider what might have helped them in learning or hinder it. On the conclusion part, the practitioner need to draw all together the ideas, and they need to know what they need to improve and how, some idea on how to do this based on their own research. On the last section, the practitioner need to sum up all the previous element of the cycle, and then they create a step-by-step plan for the new learning experience. Now we proceed with the way of reflective practice that you can do. Firstly, you can ask feedback from students. This can help them to reflect on their lesson and activity that they conducted, whether it's suitable or not to be used in teaching process. Secondly, the teacher can do is making a journal or diary. It's the medium that can describe their feeling, their thought, their reaction that happened in the session, and they have to reflect on how to improve their teaching process. Next is the recording of lesson. Provide useful information for reflection. This is because by watching the recording video, teachers can develop their awareness of teaching, and they also clearly see their strength and their weakness, so they can take the action for the future lesson. It has a lot of benefit of being reflective practitioner, especially for teachers. The first benefit is professional growth. Being a reflective practitioner can help to promote your professional growth by carrying out an extensive inner thought process. You can have a much better understanding of your strength and weakness. This will help you as a teacher to become a confident teacher during the teaching process. The next two benefits is it can help enhance our innovation, and it also can enhance problem solving skill. In this situation, when you have made a better reflection of the teaching problem, you can easily overcome the same problem in the future. Without you realize it, during the reflection of teaching problem, you have made an innovation to that problem. For an example, when your student interest is getting decreased, perhaps you can use any web application during the teaching process to increase the student interest. That's all. See you next time.
So Hafiz does not pay attention. Okay, I will give task for him after this.
Okay, since we have 5-minute break, you can go to the toilet if you want.
May I go to the toilet? Thank you. What is Kaizen? Kaizen is a term that refers to an ongoing or continuous improvement, or known as continuous improvement in an organization. The definition of Kaizen comes from two Japanese words, which is Kai means change and Zen means good. An attitude is based on cooperation and commitment for betterment. So what is Kaizen actually? Well, it is a statistical process control that improves quality in every aspect of your business. Employees are empowered to suggest ideas that address common problems so they don't reoccur. By tackling issues head-on, they aren't allowed to persist and grow into bigger challenges. This grassroots approach delivers incremental improvements that add up to big wins. This lean digital transformation is amazing, saving frontline employees precious time and empowering them at the same time. Kaizen refers to any activities that continually improve all business functions or processes that and involves every employee from the CEO to the assembly line of workers. Labeling industrial or business improvement techniques with the word Kaizen is a common practice in Japan. It is also applies to processes such as purchasing and logistics and cross-organizational boundaries into the supply chain. The concept of Kaizen encompasses a wide range of ideas. It involves making the word environment more efficient and more effective by creating the team atmosphere, improving everyday procedures, ensuring employee engagement, and making a job more fulfilling, less safe, and safer. Okay, next, the history of Kaizen. Well, Kaizen was made famous by the Japanese car manufacturing company called Toyota. In the 1980s, Toyota led the charge in developing a business process for catching issues in production as soon as they occurred. If something wasn't right, then the entire production line would be shut down so that the staff could identify a solution. This would then be implemented so that the problem didn't occur again. Over the time, the small improvement to the Toyota production system enabled it to become one of the most efficient and reliable in the world. As other companies sought to emulate Toyota's results, they turned to the Kaizen philosophy as the way of replicating their success. American business and quality management teachers who visited the country back then partly influenced such implementation.
Wait, stop! Hold on!
Sorry to interrupt, but I want to add something. You know, Kaizen wasn't originally created by a person or a company, but rather multiple expert collaboration that created tools that would eventually evolve to what we know as Kaizen. William Edwards Deming, an American management consultant and statistician, built upon Walter and Drew Schwartz's concepts of statistical process controls to develop management concepts, with cycles and the idea of improvement. Following World War II, Deming was sent to Japan to study agricultural production and other issues in the nation damaged by the war. Well, the thing is, Deming and other experts from America collaborated with Japanese business managers to come up with new ways to increase productivity in the facility and to improve product quality for the consumer. In 1951, the Deming Circle, which of 4 steps that cycle through design, production, sales, and research, was reworked by the Japanese and was developed into the Plan, Do, Check, and Act. The PDCA cycle is an essential component to Kaizen. And for your information, the Toyota Motor Corporation is a Japanese company known for being able to harness the teachings of Deming and others successfully. The first hint of Kaizen was when Toyota used Quality Circle in the 1950s as a part of manufacturing process. Quality control circles are a group of employees with the same or similar job who get together on a regular basis to define, analyze, and find solutions to issues related to their work. Eventually, the use of quality circles, the Deming's teachings, and the training within industry TWI program all led to the development of the Toyota production system. I hope you understand that. Well, this revolutionary concept became very popular in Japan. Now it continues to exist in the form of Kaizen group as well as similar worker participation schemes. The term Kaizen actually became famous around the world through the words of Masaki Imai. Masaki Imai was born in 1930. Is a Japanese organizational theorist and management consultant. His work on quality management, specifically on Kaizen, is well known in 1985. He founded the Kaizen Institute Consulting Group (KICG) to help Western companies introduce the concepts, systems, tools of Kaizen. So next is the principle of Kaizen. For your information, there were originally 10 principles of Kaizen, but of course, I'll try to make it short and chose the 3 most important principles. First is discard your fixed ideas. Always keep your mind open to change. Much like society has fixed ideas about how things should be done, and it is our job to challenge them. In the same way, we as individuals have fixed ideas that we always have to challenge. Most often, we have fixed ideas about how to do things and what to value simply because we have always done it that way. In other words, it is our habits. Always keep your mind open to change. If you get fixated on a certain ideas, start by asking yourself what would happen if you believed or did the opposite. So open your mind and discard any fixed ideas. Second, develop wisdom when faced with hardship. If you want to constantly improve yourself, you need to develop more and more wisdom. Wisdom is basically the ability to think and act using knowledge, experience, understanding, common sense, and insight. Wisdom is about a deep understanding of things, incorporating tolerance for the uncertainties of life, as well as its ups and downs. Unfortunately, the fastest way we develop wisdom is when we are faced with hardships and tough situations. So you shouldn't be scared of hardship, but instead see it as an opportunity for the fastest improvement and growth. Well, you make good decisions based on extensive experience. You develop experience based on making bad decisions. Making several bad decisions slowly leads to making good and wise decisions. And lastly, maintain positive attitude. Maintaining a positive attitude is one of the most important rules of Kaizen. Only by keeping a positive mind, you can see the new opportunities to grow yourself and your organization. Only by keeping a positive outlook, you can also foster the motivation to implement change and go after a better organizational environment. Where there's a will, there's a way. A positive attitude and strong hope is what fuels the strong will. Without a positive attitude, you stop fighting, you stop innovating, you become blind to opportunities, and you start wasting your life. There's always a move you can make towards improvement, no matter how hard the situation is. Never forget that there is always something good behind everything. So next, we will be talking about the benefits of Kaizen. Although it is not a quick fix, implementing Kaizen can lead to consistent and long-term growth. Let's take a look at some of the ways that Kaizen can improve at the workplace. First is to improve quality. In addition to improving the quality of the products that are made and the facility in general, Kaizen can help to reduce costs. Waste results in a very significant expenses for the facility, so anywhere that it can be eliminated will help to reduce costs. Whenever implementing a Kaizen strategy, it is a good idea to make a procedure regarding how the costs are evaluated and measured. This will make it easier for you to get a firm grasp of how much money is being saved thanks to the changes made due to the Kaizen strategy. Next is to improve productivity. One of the biggest Kaizen benefits will be in terms of the productivity of your facility. When implemented properly, you will identify areas where there is a waste in your facility and then look for ways to fix it. Eliminating any type of waste is going to improve productivity. While Kaizen doesn't typically produce dramatic improvements overnight, it does facilitate the environment that allows for continuous improvements. Other than that, it is also to improve morale and satisfaction. By involving employee in making changes, workers gain confidence and are happier. Each day, the owner holds a 30-minute class that engages the entire company in addressing and solving problems. This has created an open environment where problems are immediately addressed and solved by the employees themselves. The open problem-solving practice has created a workplace culture where employees have pride in their work. This is one area that many people overlook when considering the Kaizen benefits. Since Kaizen involves employees at all levels, they are going to be much more invested in its success, as employees can also see that their ideas and suggestions are taken seriously and implemented in the facility. Their morale can go up significantly. Employees who are happier with their work environment are going to produce more, stay with the company longer, and generally provide for the company. Keeping employees involved with the improvements and direction of the facility is a great way to not only keep them happy, but also encourage them to help to identify for the improvement opportunities. And last but not least is to improve communication. Facilities that use Kaizen find that they are able to communicate better throughout the company. Employees feel empowered to communicate with management. Management is going to be interacting with employees to get changes implemented. Well, to put it simple, an effective Kaizen strategy can help to improve communication. Many facilities have found that even though communication improvement was not one of the Kaizen benefits that they hoped for, but it is actually one of the most important. Communication is essential for any type of facility, and when using the Kaizen strategies, you will find that it is improved greatly in any facilities.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is Wan Hamira and I will continue for the next part. So what is continuous improvement? Continuous means there is ongoing constant, while improvement means there is an action of improving to making something better. Basically, continuous improvement means there is an ongoing effort to improve something. It is include all the effort that an organization takes in order to achieve their goal of improving their organization. Action is taken in order to improve. It doesn't mean a big one. It also can be a small thing. For instance, to create a more positive work environment at school between junior and senior teacher. They can start to probably instill that the habit of greeting each other in the morning. Whenever they arrive at school, they can start by greeting to each other, and then soon it can be upgraded to probably having lunch together of a certain day. So there are many other ways that they can do. They can start off with the most simple one, which to greeting to each other. Next, we move to the shorter cycle, PDCA. The cycle is also known as the Diamond Cycle because of the name of the founder, William Denny. So basically, this shorter cycle is a 4-step management method used in any business or organization that have series of activities to make a well-defined goal. It can be gratefully applied to a management education institute for quality improvement. There are 4 steps in the cycle, which are plan, do, chat, and act. I will give you example on how we can use PDCA cycle. The first is plan. For instance, before any action is taken, definite planning must be the first one. First, you have to meet with other teachers. You have to plan the lesson collaboratively with other teachers. This is like brainstorming. So you brainstorm on the objective of the lesson, how you want to carry out the lesson. Next is do or teach the lesson. So after you finish your lesson planning, once you complete your lesson planning, one of the teachers in the group teach the lesson while the other group members will observe the lesson once acting to improve the quality of the teaching. The third step is check to improve the lesson. After teaching the whole group, you need to check what transpired. For example, before this, you are using a traditional method with a chalk and talk method. So after you check this method does not effective to use. So you change the teaching method from the chalk and talk to the interactive whiteboard. You change the method because you think that this method is more effective to improve the quality of the teaching. And then the last one is an act. So after you check that an interactive whiteboard is much better than a traditional method, you need to add. Change it since we want to improve the quality of the teaching. There are 7-step cycle to create an environment based on the continuous improvement. The first step is to involve employees. Basically, you as the employers, you need to take the involvement of your employee. You need to make sure your employee work in group. For instance, the headmaster needs to make sure that the teacher work in a team in order to increase school achievement. Second step is create a list of the problem. If you get the involvement from all the employee, you can see a few problems that actually from the teacher. For instance, as a headmaster, you see that some of the senior teacher did not give cooperation to the junior teacher and some of them are passive in meeting. The third step is to find solution of the problem. Now you can know the problem faced by the teacher. You may want to customize some programs like teamwork program between junior and senior teacher. After that, it will bring to the fourth step, which is testing the solution. You put the outline of the problem of how many hours they need every program run. Then you need to make some reports. The next Kaizen step is analyze the result. The employee should be able to compare and contrast whether the adapt program really helped them. If it brings the slight improvement, then standardize and adjust the program, which is the sixth Kaizen step. Last step is to repeat the step and establish the Kaizen cycle. This is not one-time things but should be repeated continuously with some new solution tested based on the problems. Now let's take a look of Kaizen 5S framework. This framework is actually a critical part of Kaizen system and establish an ideal physical workplace. Basically, this framework focusing on the workplace itself. 5F focusing on creating visual order, organizing, cleanliness, and standardize. The first framework is SAIRI, which means sort. In this framework, it's meant to organize by spreading necessary framework items and removing unnecessary one. The second one is SEITON, which means a set of order. Basically, in this framework means to make or code, where you organize stuff to make it easier for you to evaluate them. In this 10, as a teacher, is how you organize teaching materials of those in the classroom, so it can be smooth your lesson for today. The next framework is SEISO, which means shine. This means cleanliness. As a teacher, you have to keep the workplace of your office clean so that it will encourage you to continue to be dedicated to your work. A messy workplace can make a person feel agitated all this time. The next framework is Kaizen 2, which means standardize. In this framework, it's referred to the standard hygiene, or you can say a systematic workplace cleaning. Science Kaizen is basically adapted from Japanese culture. We can take an example from the school there. Every morning, the student will do a classroom cleaning session. They does not even divide tasks with to-do list, but do it together every day. The last framework is Shakti, which means sustain. Here is basically discipline in constant effort. Being committed is an important factor in our career. Therefore, it is important for an individual to have strict discipline on work ethic. I hope all of you get input from the live session. So Hafiz, can you conclude what you understand about the topic?
Okay, I think today we have learned about workplace learning. We have discussed about situated learning and cognition. We also discussed about how to be a reflective practitioner using 3 reflection model, and we'll also discuss about continuous improvement in an organization and Kaizen. That's all for our meeting today. I hope all of you understand about the workplace learning. And don't forget to apply this in your teaching. If you have anything to ask, don't forget to join us tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. See you there. Thank you. If you have anything to ask, don't forget mutu.
Everyone, now we look at Everyone, now we look at Everyone, now
I guess I'm just a playdate to you. Kamu siapa? Kamu siapa?
okay? Save your days for another day.
Save your tears for